They say it's not nice to call people fat. But bitch, you are. You want me to call you skinny? Listen, we wouldn't even be having this conversation if you just buy and drink the damn tea. Drop down in the description box, click this link so you can stop getting offended when I do these ads. Bye. Nessa girl, I called to say happy Friday. I know I'm supposed to be watching Basketball Wives and coming at y'all, but to be quite honest, I'm so over OG and that whole situation that I might not even touch it. But something that's more pressing on my soul today is white people in America. White people, y'all got a damn problem. And it's about time y'all have a conversation about it. Between Sharon Osbourne and this new Stop the Asian Hate campaign, which really should be titled Stop White Terrorism, I'm pissed off. Wanna talk about it? Here it goes. Nessa girl, I just came from the gym doing legs, and everybody know legs is my least favorite day at the gym, so I got a fucking attitude, okay? And it's been on my mind for 2 nights. This Entertainment Tonight interview that Sharon Osbourne did with Kevin Frazier down to the Entertainment Tonight. Now, first and foremost, I don't know what in the white PR hell is going on. I don't know why white people think that they can make racial mistakes and fix it all by doing an interview with a black person. That's number one. Number two, I know that as a journalist, Kevin Frazier probably felt like, oh my God, this is a big story. I get the Sharon Osbourne story. This will be something great on my resume, something great on my video reel, something great for my career. But sir, I am here to tell you that you were being used as a pawn in a very treacherous game of deflection and trying to shift the blame. Thirdly, Kevin Frazier made it a point to add Amanda Seales, Cheryl Underwood, and a couple other black women in an effort to put the onus on them for understanding. No, 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 no. It is not anybody else's job to help understand her plight or any other racist angled, racist opinion, willfully blind persons. We don't have to foster a situation of understanding. It's about time we start fostering environments for they ass to fucking stop. That's number one. But here's the thing that pissed me off, right? The most. I can deal with Kevin Frazier, Entertainment Tonight leader. What bothered me the most is that Sharon Osbourne got her ass on TV and did not accept 1 single ounce of responsibility. She deflected and deflected and provided an excuse as to why everything that happened on that stage was everyone else's fault, citing that there was a situation previously on the talk where a co-host was blindsided by a question and started crying, and the co-host that asked the question subsequently felt guilty for asking said question. And from that point on, they made a pact that regardless of what the producers give on their cards or say in their ear, that they would not blindside one another. Cheryl, I completely understand that. I 100% believe that. But I don't believe that that pact that y'all made is applicable to that situation. Now, an applicable, question or episode would have been, Cheryl, how did you feel when your husband cheated on you in 1987 and got his mistress pregnant? That's being blindsided. That's being blindsided. Sharon, what happened to you was not being blindsided. Your ass was trying to defend the indefensible. First and foremost, you can't start at the middle. You got to start at the beginning. You publicly interjected yourself in the middle of a shitstorm that had absolutely nothing to do with you. And now your ass is under just as much scrutiny, if not more, than Piers Morgan. Here is the sad part, right? You don't jeopardize relationships and your career publicly supporting Piers Morgan, something that did not have to be done. And now that your ass is in the hot seat and under investigation, this man ain't came out and said shit in defense of you. God damn it, ain't that something? God damn it now. See how they do you? Do you see how people would do you? You don't ruin relationships. You looking all kind of silly in the press. You about to lose your job at CBS. They're digging up everything in your past with a fine-tooth comb. Legal department, HR department, quality control, independent investigation firm. Your ass can't sleep. Don't know if you're going to have a job today or tomorrow. Stepping your ass into something that was none of your goddamn business for Piers Morgan, and that motherfucker ain't came out and said one goddamn thing in defense of you. Do Jesus. But that's your friend. That's your friend. Now, your friend probably texted you. Your friend probably called you. He didn't put his career and his reputation on the line for you. And that's what you could have did. I don't know why you felt like saying something on Twitter or not would determine if you were a good friend or not. Calling him and saying, Pierce, I know you're going through a hard time, and I just want you to know me and Ozzy and the kids, we're praying for you, we're here for you, let us know if you need anything. That's being a friend. I can't feel bad for you when you made it a point to wake your ass up in the morning, brush your hair, put that strawberry red rinse on your damn head, and align yourself with a blatant bigot. You did that, Sharon. You did that. And because you did it, it created conversation for the show. And it created a teachable moment which would have been great for America had you not been so emotional and hostile in the way you spoke to Cheryl Underwood. So then you start going on and you're saying you're mad because they're being called racist. You're mad about this. And then the betrayal because everybody blindsided you. So now you're trying to paint this picture that there was some sort of allegiance or alliance that everybody knew what was coming except for you, and they set you up. Sharon, what reason would these people have to set you up? Well, you know what? Quiet as it's kept, with all the shit coming out about how you treated Leah Remini, Holly Robinson Peete, and Julie Chen in regards to race, you know, maybe they did have reason to set you up, but I honestly do not believe that was those women's intentions. And quite frankly, baby, you're just choking on your words right now. Own it. I could have respected you more had you just said Pierce was a dear friend of mine, and the attacks that he was taking, I took them deeply personal, and I got over emotional in the situation, and I exploded. That was a reasonable explanation that everybody could have understood, would have accepted, and we would have been able to move on. But the fact that you were unwilling to lie down on the sword in which you sharpened with your words and your tweets and your anger towards Cheryl Underwood, and now all this other stuff that's being uncovered about you, that's your doing, mama. And keeping in the vein of white people being unable to take accountability for their actions. Now, this part is going to be very, very, very double-minded in a sense, right? So we've got the situation now where the gentleman in Atlanta shot up and killed 6 Asian women workers at these... Shut up! The dog's barking. I had put in a maintenance request because my air condition when I need to see it. That was Georgie. That ain't them. He's just out there being crazy. He don't care for this stuff either. Anyway, the man went up there and shot up the people. Then they got these cases. I was watching Inside Edition, and they did a compilation of all these various clips of Asian people being attacked or whatever. And then now we're starting to see, hold on one second, that is maintenance, hold on. Yeah, child, that was the maintenance people. Sorry, they had done got me together. But anyway, like I was saying, the issue is not stop Asian hate. The issue, plain and simply, is stop white terrorism. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because now we see people hashtag stop Asian hate. They got memes and stuff going around. And it's slowly becoming the next movement or whatever the case may be. And rightfully so. Listen, I've made up in my mind that this is not my fight. All right? For a moment, and I think when it comes to any people who are mistreated or disadvantaged or all those other negative things, black people as a community, we are so quick to embrace and fold them in and take them in from a place of sympathy and a place of empathy because we know what it's like, right? Historically. But I think slowly the tides are changing. I think that we now live in a space in 2021 where the black collective is starting to realize that taking on the issues of other communities doesn't really serve us, because in exchange, they don't help out with ours. Everybody remains silent when it comes to our issues. And so, you know, I thought about if I would be willing to verbalize what I'm about to verbalize out loud, but I feel it's necessary to do so because I feel like I'm not the only person that feels this way. I was on Instagram and I saw a post that said stop Asian hate, and it had several posts, and you scroll and scroll and scroll. And when I got towards the end, it was a young Asian woman, and she was crying. She was crying about, you know, basically saying all the things that black people say. We just want to live peacefully. We're not bothering anybody. This is unfair. All because this prior president, you know, is calling it the Kung Flu virus and the China virus. And as a result, it has emboldened people to do all these crimes and injustices against Asian people. Sound familiar? Does it sound fucking familiar? And so while she was crying, I'm not going to lie, my heart broke for her. Because I get it. And then shortly after I watched the video, something came over me that said, you know what? Not this time. Q, not this time. That ain't your battle. That ain't your problem. And I battled with, am I being nasty? You know, my mama and my grandma didn't raise me that way. Am I being nasty? But it comes a point where you have to start fighting for yourself and for those that fight for you. And I'm not trying to be divisive in this moment, but I recognize that two things can be true at the very same time. The first part of me is going to say injustice against anybody is wrong. Discrimination and racism against anybody is wrong. But if Asian people think one time that my black ass is about to take the momentum from the movement and the hard work that my ancestors have laid and lend that protesting power, lend that civil rights power, lend any of my time, energy, or leverage to helping them fight this cause, they got another damn thing coming. And for anybody that's Asian that follows me, you know, if that hurts your feelings, you'll survive. Because the question I will then ask you, and not as an individual, because I believe within every racial group, there are individuals who are altruistic, who help, who don't see color, all of these great things. So I'm not talking about you as an individual, but I'm talking about you as the Asian collective. Do y'all sit down as a collective and lend y'all's power, political resources, economic resources to issues that black people face in this country? And there has not been one group in the history of this country who has experienced more violence, racism, discrimination, or anything in between than black people. And that's a tried and true and proven and written down and conceptualized and tangible fact. There's no arguing with me there. So one has to lean on Janet Jackson and say, what has the Asian community done for me lately? So unfortunately, I will not be on this whole stop Asian hate train, whatever the hashtag is. I'm sorry, you won't get me for that one. I'm gonna have to leave y'all out on a limb, much like y'all leave us, because y'all, don't understand, or it's like, somehow it's like, whenever it comes to black people's issues, it's somehow our fault. Or if we would have just not resisted, not to mention, Asian people, and I'm not addressing you as an individual, but as a collective. If we're gonna just very be honest, y'all haven't been the nicest to black folks either. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have not been the nicest to black folks either as a collective in terms of how y'all come into our communities, open up your businesses, but treat us like shit. All right. Now, granted, that can be a symbiotic relationship, and some could argue that black people go in y'all establishments and cut the fuck up and don't be wanting to pay for their nails, so on and so forth. But regardless of what was right, what came first, the chicken or the egg, I will not be marching in the Stop Asian Hate campaign. For future reference, in case anybody tries to pull this video up after I don't got my talk show and tried to paint me in some anti-Asian rhetoric, that is not what it is. I have no ill will towards Asian people. I don't want them to be hurt. All I'm simply saying is I am looking out and lending my resources to the plight of my people, and if there's enough for them to fight for their own damn selves. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they deserve to be hurt. I'm not saying they don't deserve to be heard. I'm simply saying I'm not lending any of my resources to their cause simply because I don't feel when it comes to causes of ours that they lend their resources to us. But because black people have this history of being the largest victimized, marginalized, violence-inflicted community in the world, every time something goes wrong, because we've already laid the foundation for what civil rights looks like, everybody wants to look to us. Yes, we are the blueprint. Yes, we are the manpower. Yes, we are the grassroots operations. But guess what? All I can do for you, and all I can offer you is a history book, baby. It's the handbook, it's the guidebook, it's the guidelines about what y'all do, okay? So, y'all can bus boycott. Montgomery and Selma is still there. If y'all want to fly all into Montgomery and march from Montgomery to Selma, y'all are welcome to do that. There are a lot of things y'all could do. And y'all are blessed in the sense that y'all communities are very tightly insulated. Y'all live amongst one another. Y'all keep y'all wealth concentrated amongst yourselves. Y'all got this. Y'all got it. See, sis, I'm not against you. I'm empowering you. You stronger than you think. You got this. But whenever somebody is willing to start the Stop White Terrorism campaign, I don't give a good goddamn what color you is. I'm there and I'm writing the check. The last thing I want to say before I get off the line. White people, and I'm talking to y'all directly. White people, and again, this is not to be misconstrued as racist, because it's not. But white people, the white delegation, the white collective, y'all have a fucking problem. Y'all have a huge problem on your hands, and it's called disgruntled, entitled white men who are fucking losing their minds. And it's about time y'all have one big collective white family sit down at the kitchen table meeting and talk about it. White people, y'all are the only community that don't have town hall meetings about what the fuck going on in y'all own backyard. Black people, we do it. We got the State of the Black Union Address that was hosted by Tavis Smiley and Cornel West on CNN for years. We have these hard conversations about what we need to do intraracially to get ourselves together. I'm sure other races do too, but white people, y'all have a tendency to make everybody else the scapegoat for the things in y'all community that y'all are unwilling to discuss. Y'all have a problem. Y'all are losing y'all's minds. And it's sad because I had a situation that happened to me down to the bar with a Honda Carsby the other night where my friendship with somebody is now on the line because I have to figure out how I'm going to handle this. I have a friend, he's a white man. And in the past, he's a Trump supporter. He's one of those people who he doesn't see Trump being racist. He agrees with a lot of the stuff. He says he comes from Detroit and he's not privileged, that he had to work just as hard as any other black person in the plants, just as hard. And because he grew up in Detroit and he was the white boy, he stood out or whatever the case may be and had to work just as hard as the black boys. And I get all of that. And he's one of those people that I had to explain to that white privilege doesn't mean you were handed anything, or it doesn't mean that your life hasn't had obstacles. It simply means that your skin color wasn't one of them. He's one of those whites that, so most recently, we down to the bar, this was last week, and we all was drunk. We was so drunk that I don't even remember how the conversation came about, but I remember him getting upset and making the comment that, he feels like he's under attack because he's a white man, that everything in the world is all of a sudden his fault and he feels under attack. And so, I live by the mantra that I seek to understand before I seek to be understood. So I looked over at him, and in the most sincere voice I had, I said, "Do you honestly feel that way?" And he said firmly, "Yeah, I do." He's like, "I feel like as a white man, I'm under attack, that everything in the world is my fault, that everything is our fault. Everybody's looking to blame white men for everything." And then in the most ignorant Eartha Kitt laugh I could muster up from the deepest part of my lung and my vocal cords, I laughed out loud. Then I cocked my head to the side. That what you said, look? I cocked my head to the side and I put my hands on my hips. And I said, "You honestly feel comfortable saying what you just said to me, a black man?" And he continued with this "I feel attacked" thing. And in that moment, I realized that nothing was going to be gained having a drunken racial conversation. And because I was full of the good liquor, any little thing would have made me emotional and upset. We probably would have got the tussling in that bitch. And I'm all for effective communication. I recognize that fussing with him, trying to prove my point about racism, is not going to educate him. So I said to him, I'm going to call him Steven. I said, "Steven, what you said is so fucking laughable being said to a black man." I was like, "Really?" And I was like, while your feelings may be valid from your point of view, you are grossly miseducated. And his girlfriend was there. She was looking at him like, "Really, dude?" And she's white, but she gets it. And she was like, "Really, dude?" And I said to him, I said, "We'll have this conversation when we're sober." So like 2 days later when I got home, I was in bed and I actually was upset. And now I'm sobered up. I had a clear mind. I was actually upset. And I wanted to go over to his house. I've been to their house before. And I wanted to sit down and just give him a history lesson from A to Z. And then I was like, you know what? It's not my job. Number two, I was like, this particular friend, I feel like he has made a commitment to being right and being the victim. But the thing that baffled me was I just don't understand. And I want to understand. I really want to understand him. Like it's this funny thing that white people do. They play victim, and then all of a sudden we, as the minorities, we exit from our victimhood and have to coddle them. And then that's when I took my power back. I said, no. No. There is a certain level of power in being the victim in terms of controlling the narrative. And again, there has been no other community in the history of this country that has been more victimized or more violence inflicted upon than black people. And that's irrefutable. So no, I will not step out of it to make him feel better. Feel whatever the fuck you want to feel. It ain't true. Feel whatever the fuck you want to feel. But I do want him to understand that what you're feeling is not you being attacked. What you're feeling is white guilt. And you feeling white guilt is your choice to feel. Because you didn't own any slaves. You were not alive during Jim Crow. But you recognize the fact that you are part of a collective that overall benefits from racism. And maybe you feel hopeless that you can't do anything about it. Or maybe you're feeling, I can't help the fact that I'm white. Should I walk around and feel guilty for slavery? Absolutely not. But you should just keep your damn mouth closed and continue to live your life and skedaddle in your white privilege. And don't diddle and daddle in racist issues and continue to be aloof and blind to things like y'all so conveniently do when it comes to issues of other communities. But you will not be afforded the opportunity to flip the narrative and be the victim here. See, white men, yes, what y'all are going through is the stabilization of the racist. Y'all have disproportionately been in power for so long by means of force, hook, and crook that there's just a slight shift in the power dynamics going on, and equality feels like discrimination to y'all. The fact that people are calling out racism, institutional racism, and the people who have laid the foundation for this, and it feels like an attack to you, speaks volumes. Nobody's attacking you. Nobody want what you got. We just want what's rightfully ours. But the issue that the white community is unwilling to address is that all of the advantages that they have hinge on a racially oppressive system. And if we fix systematic racism and oppression, it will take away a couple things from y'all. It will shift the power dynamics slightly. That's because much of it is ill-gotten. And y'all know that. And that's the conversation that y'all need to have amongst yourselves. Like, when y'all gonna come up off of it? Being willfully ignorant to the fact because you benefit from it. What happened to work hard and the American dream? You work hard, it'll happen. Nevertheless, it ain't stop Asian hate. It's stop white terrorism. And it's about time we call a thing a thing. That's all I got. Ain't got no more. I'm going to tell y'all something. Be honest with you. It's Friday. I'm not fucking with that basketball wise. I'm not about to infect my mind with that bullshit. Y'all can have it. I'll talk to you later. Bye.